Hello guys and welcome back to Planetary Annihilation. Today I'm going to be doing a bit of a tutorial because the last tutorial that we had didn't really go into enough detail about some of the earlier things that you could do. It basically just said, this is a decent way of doing it, so you might as well do this. In this video I'm going to be talking about adapting what you're doing at early game to your opponent and to the map and such like. Also, things have changed slightly in the recent patch, which made fabricators use less energy and energy plants cost less to build. So it is definitely not as bad to get more fabricators out and more early energy plants out. Now, that doesn't mean fabricator spam, obviously, because that's never a good idea. Don't do that. But it does mean that you can get away with a few extra fabricators early game just to get the metal extractors up faster. Now, firstly, I'm going to talk about some of the advantages and disadvantages of going bot factory or vehicle factory early game, because there are definitely advantages to both. Now, Eladea actually has a really in-depth tutorial that talks at one point about, sorry about that, I did not mean to do that. Oh, this is bad start. About some of the different maps and what you should build on each map. Now, on this one, this is Forge, it's one of the ranked maps. It's very much two-lane combat. You've got a lane here and a lane here. So you are going to want to go vehicles, at least that's what I would think. But there are a couple of disadvantages to vehicles. That being that you can't get that fast early raiding off as easily. And the vehicle factory, because the tanks are much more expensive than the docks, it actually ends up using more energy because the docks factories can be offline for quite a while. So that means that after this second factory, if you're going to build two fabricators, which obviously isn't what you have to do, but it's something that I have been doing recently, you're going to have to get an energy plant out with your commander. Now, if you were going bot factory, then you could actually get out a second bot factory before that energy plant because they use slightly less energy. Now on this map it isn't as crucial, but I always like to go nice early radar because that lets you know where they're scouting, lets you maybe deny them some scouting, and I also like to get out a scout even if I know where they are, because now I know that this guy has got an air fabricator, so he is going to lose an air fabricator right now. If I haven't lost it, that is. Right, yeah, so generally I wouldn't go air fabricators. That's never a good idea. I believe they use more energy than a other fabricator, and they are too easy to kill. I mean, look at this, he just lost two fabricators. If this was a proper ranked game, I would be calling GG right now. And now I'm just actually going to pause this game now because this is going too fast for me to talk. After I've got these first factories up, my fabricators are going to build metal extractors. And on this map, on Forge, you have, if you're in this spawn point, you have two very nice safe metal points. You have one here, and you have one round here. So you want to be getting control of them, definitely. You also might want to try push up one of these lanes. Probably that you should prioritize this lane because it has more metal extractors on it. So maybe get some of your vehicle factories rallied out there. And you also want to be denying your opponent this area and this area back here and down here. So you're going to want to do that with air. So on this map, generally, I'd go very heavy air and very heavy land. In nearly all maps, you need to have more air than your opponent. If you scout that they've got two air factories, build three air factories, or at least two. Never leave them with more air factories than you have. Now, in the previous patches, I used to be building my energy plants with a couple of fabricators. I have now stopped doing that and started having these two first fabricators building metal extractors. I hope that isn't a bomber, it doesn't look like it's too fast. No, they're scouts. Having these two metal extractors, two fabricators build metal extractors in different places. Generally there will be one or two places that you can expand to with your fabricators. So you might want to get a third one out at some point to go to another expansion, maybe up here, or maybe I'll use this guy for that. Actually, guys, queue up a... Oh dear, that is not what I meant to do. Build that and then get that up and then do nothing else. And then if you do it this way, then you can just build that energy, that nice cheap energy as it now is, with your commander. Now, one thing that a lot of people will be saying if they're fairly new to the game is hotkeys. Do you need hotkeys and such like? Is improving your APM really gonna help that much? And in my opinion, no. I really wouldn't focus on learning hotkeys and getting a better APM when you are learning the game. There's just no point in confusing yourself, really. Now, this is why you need this superiority, really. Because now I know that this fabricator is going to die. It's a big loss. And I also know that this metal here is unprotected, so I'm going to move in my tanks. That also gets me a bit worried, because where are all his units? Now, it could be that this is a really bad AI and he just isn't building any units, but I really doubt it. So I'm going to take this around here, check if he's been building up an army. And no, looks like he hasn't. Oh, yes, he has. Okay, he's moving his army down to this side. I'm going to rally a couple more vehicle factories over to there. Going to move these units in. Going to take you, and I'm going to set you to group 2, and I'm going to set these guys to group 3. That just lets you pan between your attacks, or defenses in this case, very easily. That is something that I would recommend people doing. Now you see now I'm floating metal. I've had an idle commander for a while. This isn't exactly the model tutorial here, but because I'm floating metal so regularly, I'm going to get some metal storage up, because all of that metal, I'm wasting a hell of a lot of metal here. See, I'm only using 97, but I'm producing 134. So I really do not want to be doing that, because that is just a waste of metal. This attack looks like it is maybe going to do some damage if he keeps those compacted even into small groups, but he isn't. He seems to be sending them in small lines, which is very good for me. And factories have gone down from him. Yeah. Once you get to this point, I'm gonna check that he hasn't got any metal that I don't know about. Actually, I can see there he's got a hell of a lot of fabricators. Oh, there's his fabricators. So I'm gonna move in these guys. That air fabricator's gone down. I'm going to use the bombers now to attack that and loosen up some of this range so that my tanks can get in there without taking any losses. Moving those in. The air is working really well for me. I know that he hasn't got air superiority right now, because I think I can... Oh no, I can see 2 air factories, but he obviously just isn't producing enough fighters for the amount of bombers that he has. He just lost a fabricator for nothing. He's losing more metal extractors. I'm going to take my air, scout around, looking for more metal extractors. Let's get these factories doing something. Okay, right about now, I'm going to be starting to build up an army. I know that I've got this area defended. My fabricator is idle, so I'm going to be getting it over here. Now, there are just very few important hotkeys that I think people should be using, even if they are new to the game. And that is select idle fathers. I've actually... think that's so good that I have bound it to a hotkey on my mouse along with assist. And because what you should constantly be doing is just pressing that button whenever you're not doing anything else, just to see if you have anything that is idle. Now you can see here, he isn't defending this attack at all. Those units have been in his base for a long time and he's not doing anything about it. And I was talking about hotkeys, and now I'm not anymore. You should also know Control Z selects all of the type of unit that you have. As you can see there, I selected a tank, and I've now selected all of my tanks. Commander's idle. A select commander actually is useful as well. I believe I've got it bound to B. That means if I'm over here and microing this force up here, trying to kill some of his metal extractors, and I want to check if my commander's idle or not, I can double tap B, selects my commander, focuses the camera on him. I now know that he shouldn't be building another factory after that. He should be building a couple of energy plants, so I've queued him up for the next little bit. I can come back to macro my air, I can move in with these units because I know that he doesn't have anything up here because these troops still haven't died. I can kill this fabricator with my air. I can check around here that these are moving forward to defend those metal extractors. And it just generally lets you move around a lot quicker and get your camera anchors in the right place. Camera anchors are something that's useful, I would say. Not crucial, but one thing that I hear a lot of new players saying is, I've lost my commander and such like. So that's why you want these focus commander hotkeys and such like. I'm actually going to get a third energy plant in there. I seem to have neglected it a little bit. There we go. Right, he's got a bit of air, so I'm going to move those in. I'm going to get these on a group. So now I can move those in like that. Get these guys on a group. That's a control and then a number, by the way, at least in my setup it is. Because this just lets me easily switch between which attack I'm using. And I've got a hotkey for select all combat air, which is also very useful, but obviously you don't really need that. You can just select a bomber, select a fighter, hold shift to select something without deselecting what you've already got, and then press Ctrl Z, and there you go, you've got all of your bombers and fighters on screen. I'm going to move these guys in. This guy, let's go check around there, see if he's got those metal extractors yet. Let's select all of my units and move them in like that. I know the commander's up there now. This fabricator has been building metal, but he's trying to attack here, or maybe expand a bit. So I'm going to focus down that anti-air first, and then kill these infernos, which are going to probably get off a max kill before I can kill them all. Oh, no, he's actually going to run away with them. Excellent. But as you can see, yeah, you just need to get as much T1 as possible. These T1 land, especially on this map, most of all, is amazing. And there we go, his commander's down. That was, by the way, it was an AI. I wasn't in a ranked match at this point in time. But yeah, basically, you need to keep expanding. You need to get all the metal that you can get. As you can see, I actually had an idle faber down here. That is something I should have noticed. I should have sent him up to get this metal. And maybe I had the energy for it. I should have been getting more fabricators out. So I didn't do perfect in that game. It wasn't a perfect game for me. But hey, the commander's dead. That's all you need, really, isn't it? Now, there was one point back here. Let's see. Actually, let's just go back to the beginning and go over what I did at the beginning, because I feel like that all happened very fast. Okay, here I am. I accidentally built a bot factory, being the pro that I am, and then I switched it over to a vehicle factory and let this guy decay. But this vehicle factory, this is because of the map. Generally, if you're going to be sending units around the back, avoiding attacks, raiding metal extractors, you want to go docks first. But on this map, it's generally very simple confrontations where you're just pushing between the lanes, really. So the heavy, hard-hitting, high-health tanks, definitely very, very good. And so is the air, so that you can get easily into these hard-to-reach places that the opponent or you may have. And it also gives you that early scouting and the possibility for early fabricator kills that I saw there. Now, as I said before, vehicle factories use more energy than bot factories. So when you're going vehicles, you need to get an energy plant out after that second factory with your commander. That is if you've got 2 fabricators. If you've got 1 fabricator, then you may be able to get a 3rd factory out. Now here my commander was idle for a bit. I should have had something queued up for him straight away there, but I didn't. And so were these fabricators, although not for very long, I don't think. Now if I had gone bot factory first, then I would have done 1 bot factory, usually 1 air factory, unless I'm really going for the full-on bot rush. And then I could have done 1 more bot factory and then the energy plant. So the bot factories definitely have their advantages. You can get just a little bit more unit production early game, which is always very, very important. But you have to remember that those docks will trade very badly with tanks. So you never, if you have docks, you never want to get them into full-on confrontations with a tank. You want to be getting behind the enemy lines, killing off metal extractors, and running away, so that their tanks have to chase them. And then, well, that's always good if you can get a tank to their tank army out of their base. Then you can send in by getting them to kite your docks. Then you can send in your main tank army, and their tanks aren't there, so you can get a lot more favoured confrontation on your side. Now, what I'll usually do with these first two fabricators, I'll get the metal inside the base up with both of them, just so that they can get that early metal extractors up and stop my metal stalling early game. And you can see I already overtook him with metal, probably for that very reason, and the fact that I killed two of his air fabbers very early game. And then I will split them up, send them off to 2 expansions, because 2 expansions is harder to raid than 1, obviously. And maybe if there was more places to go, I would push forward with tanks, I would get a 3rd fabricator out, and then I'd just get my commander building factories. And whenever I needed the energy, I would get him to build an energy plant. And that's basically going to keep my eco balanced and probably even get some excess metal, which I can either put into storage, or I can get extra fabricators out, maybe go T2. Although, never go T2 too early, because then you'll be out-united by T1, and, I mean, one T2 tank isn't as good as 10 T1 tanks, so you're going to get out-united early game. So only ever go T2 if you have excess eco, and you seem to be able to hold back their T1 for the most part. So yeah, that is going to be the end of this probably incredibly confusing and not at all helpful tutorial. So I guess I'll be seeing you in the next one.